So this was going to be a Jawa panel, but we have a couple people that aren't Jawas, right? Everybody here is a Jawa. Okay. Okay, my mistake. See, this is what I'm learning. I'm learning, and it's.
Hello?
How are we all doing today? That's exactly, it was done that way. I was going to give the 4-year-old a mic before I give you one. Susan is Susan, one of those people who were just born to work in Hollywood and work in films just because attention. Oh my God, is it me? Is it me?
Just for you.
Yeah, just for you. No, I was saying this is what you'd be like. But anyway, so let's get started. So Brad, how did you get into Star Wars?
First, Christine, she got a call for a costume fitting that we went to, and I waited for her for about an hour outside, and she came out, and she was like, it was really weird because they were putting me in a bunch of Warwick Davis's costumes, and I was like, what? Warwick Davis? That means you're doing something either Star Wars or Rings or something. She's like, no, it's Star Wars. You know, the costumer said it's going to be Star Wars. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. You got to get me in. You got to get me in. So after a couple times she went for a costume fitting, she asked if they were looking for other little people. And this may sound funny, but for me, being a little person, I'm actually tall in that realm. So I don't get a lot of costume work. They look for more work for people my wife's height, you know, and I'm sort of like on that limbo where I don't get anything. So anyways, they called me in, and I went in, and they were like, hey, well, you're perfect height for this character. And there was a drawing of a Jawa on the wall. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's awesome. I would love to play a Jawa. That would be pretty sweet. And long story short, yeah, I got a call back. I went in for a costume fitting for measurements and everything, and that was, I started my first episode for the episode 2 in season 1 of Mandalorian.
Ooga, is that the one with the egg?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Stephen Powers had the egg. He was our Jawa elder.
Okay.
And
so kind of like Jack Purvis in the day. Remember Jack Purvis was the lead Jawa,
yeah.
and the lead Ugnaught, and he was always a leader of those groups.
Yeah, it was such a interesting day because the costumes that we had on, the shoes that we have are Uggs. And it was nice and muddy out there, so by the end of the day, these babies were like 10 pounds each, easy, right, Susanna?
We're like, in our feet, you know how when you sit in the pool for so long, it's prune looking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly
Were you in the same episode as well?
Yeah.
Yep. Were you all in that episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Except for Christine.
For me.
Christine was pregnant with Genevieve at the time.
Okay, so we'll open this part of the discussion up to everybody. Then we'll get back to everybody's origin, except for Susan. But anyway, so what was it? I'm just kidding. We like each other. We get along very well. And so that scene was filmed actually outside, not in the volume.
Yeah, it was filmed out at the railroad yard that they have. It's like maybe a mile down the street from the studios, and it's an old railroad yard that they use. And they have a bunch of cargo containers that are stacked up like 6 high in a huge circle, and they're all covered by blue screens.
Yeah, it was to block the paparazzi from taking photos.
Yes. There was a parking structure from a commercial building that's down the way that they took photos of us actually filming the Jawa stuff that was put on TMZ.
Yeah.
And then after that, they hired security to be up there on that parking structure. Okay. They stacked another container up on that side. And then there was a drone. Actually, we weren't there that day, but we heard about there was a drone that flew over, and one of the security guys shot it down with a net.
Oh, really?
They were ready.
Yeah, I've heard of it. They have something that's just come out now for baseball stadiums. It like shoots an electronic pulse at it, and it confuses it, and it just comes to the ground. So similar to hitting with a net, but I divert. So just so I'm aware, so this was the episode where where the Mandalorian fights the Jawas at first, and then kind of joins forces with them to go get the egg. Is that the scene we're talking about?
Yes.
And so
where
that
the Jawas
scene was
stripped
filmed.
his ship.
That film was seen that scene was filmed in an old railroad yard. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it was an old railroad yard.
Surrounded by blue screens.
Yes, they use that area for the outside shootings a lot, not just for that episode.
Oh, so for multiple episodes.
Multiple episodes for Boba Fett, for Mandalorian. I'm sure maybe I wasn't in Ahsoka, but I'm sure they used it too over there. But it was a lot of fun, and I think My biggest thing was when we were all in costume and like the Mandalorian, which was actually Pedro, the first time we filmed together before he stopped doing the costumes, and he wasn't having it.
I want to hear this one.
He wasn't having it. He didn't like it in the costume. When Stephen Powers was, he was the main Jawa elder, and the next day he didn't come in, so they had me sit in for it. And I remember I got a little under my belt, and I was like, hey, if I know what I look like in this costume when I animate, if I come out of here, I didn't have the principal contract that he had, so I'm like, if you're going to use me, I want to be compensated.
Recognized,
and they're like, okay. Then Jon Favreau comes over, and he's like, we're not going to use you. We're just using you for this over-the-shot thing. And I was like, just for rehearsals? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, sorry about that. I was just, I've been in the business for too long. I don't want to get screwed over.
Right. I do want to ask a couple of questions, but I want to circle back to that Pedro thing when he left. I want to hear more about that. But Susan, how did you get involved with Lucasfilm projects? Because you're on a bunch of series, not just Mandalorian.
Yeah, well, I've started with the Mando 1. I've been on Mando 1, 2, 3, Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka. They recycle me, so obviously they like me. I play 6 different creatures. It was a fluke how I got onto this. They called me, the agency called me, and they were like, hey, there's some new thing that's coming out, and she said something like Star Wars, and I was like, okay, how much is the pay? That was the first thing that she said, you're the first person to ask. She said, everybody else that I've called, that's all they had to hear was Star Wars, and they're like, put me on. I honestly, I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I watched the first when I was growing up with Princess Leia and all that, but honest truth, I haven't really been into Star Wars. I started getting more into it since I've been on it, and all the more Disney, because now they're talking all this gibberish to me, and I'm like, what is that? What is that? Who is that? I'm like clueless, like a little kid lost in the candy store, like, where's my mommy? I don't understand. Teach me. So who do I always run to? This dum-dum right here. She's the one who's always telling me, even with my phone, like the era. I'm still old school. Let me drop this on your phone. Drop what? You want me to drop it like it's hot? Hold on. Okay, we can do that. But, air dropping on there, I just hand it to her, like, here, could figure this out. That's why we work so well together. It's like night and day. So, but yeah, doing that, they called me, and it was like, okay, is this going to pay me at least a little more than my regular job? Because I can just sit at my regular job and not do jack shit, and then rather than go bust my ass on the thing and sweat or whatever. And it was, so I was like, okay. Thank God I took it. Thank God it's a blessing in disguise, and I love it. They treat us well. If you never see me on the set, it's one of a few things. They will find me at Crafty or stuck in the bathroom on the set. My birthday, what was it, was it 2 years ago? I was on the set, and that was literally a day. And I'm gonna.
You just swore in front of a 4-year-old. You did too. You did too. You did too.
She's used to me. Auntie Susanna's potty mouth. And it was actually literally my birthday. Always in the morning on the set, they juice whatever juice we want. I always have my beets with orange juice, carrot juice, apple juice squeezed. By a certain time, you got to go to the bathroom. Just ate lunch. I said, okay, let me try to get out of this, costume suit or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to have to run back on the set. So I went to the restroom, and I see a stick. I tried to flush the toilet after I used the restroom, and it wouldn't go down. So I was like, oh, maybe that's what the stick is for, to push the flap down. When I tell you I 100% screwed up, you got beet juice in the toilet, so it's red as I don't know what. I pushed literally the thing down. It comes all back up. I'm still in my costume. It's everywhere. I always go to the bathroom with baby wipes, like wipes. I used up that whole brand new thing, like trying to clean. Then I try to get out the restroom. It's like locked. I'm like, what is going on? I'm banging. And literally right outside the door by a few, whatever, it's craft services. And I'm like, I hope somebody can hear me. And finally, I just got so mad, and I just banged it, and I flung out. They were like, Susanna, what the hell were you doing? I was like, I've been stuck in there for like 45 minutes. They already started filming the scene. I guess they were waiting for me to come out to sing me happy birthday and give me my gifts, but then they started the scene because they were like, where the hell is Susanna? I go out, I was like, and they were applauding because I still went out in my costume. I was like, if I smell like shit, I'm still going to do it. I'm not going home. We rolling with the scene. And they were busting up. They were like, what happened? And I told them, and they were all just laughing. They were like, you really just don't care. Because nobody's going to go out and say, like, hey, I got stuck in the toilet and the toilet shit on me and da-da-da-da.
That's the third time now, by the way.
It's the truth. That's what happened. And you could see everybody, like, just move away from me because they were like, we don't want to smell it. But we rolled with the scene. I won't forget it. And Star Wars, this is the way, right?
Molly, Molly, you got a mic? Good. How'd you get involved?
So I first got involved. Well, I got a call from a stunt coordinator asking me if I was available, and he for a Disney project. I didn't know what it was, but I went and did a fitting, and then I realized, I'm being fitted for Jawa, which is cool. So I'm on Star Wars.
So you knew exactly automatically what it was.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I recognized the costume right away. Oh yeah, I knew, and then like it was crazy, and the costume was I felt like I was like wearing a really heavy burlap sack. It was a really thick material.
Because they double it.
They double it, yeah.
We're wearing two on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew what that point was.
Yeah.
Like, literally, we have two of those costumes on top of each other.
Wow. Okay, that's how.
It's heavy.
Yeah, there's an underdressing that's got a hood and the whole cape that's underneath that burlap sack.
Yeah, yeah, and then the mask, the black part of the hood is see-through, so you can kind of see through.
For the stunts.
So okay, that's a good question for Jawas. Is that a bandage that goes around your head, or is it just a screen in front of the hood?
So when
Yeah.
COVID hit, everybody's wearing those black things, and then you can see like this.
Yeah.
It's that material.
Mm-hmm.
It's like spandex.
Like the ski
Okay.
mask.
So it's
Yeah.
the whole hood.
I mean, you could kind of see through it. I could only make out outlines and shadows of people. Like.
And what about the lights for the eyes? Do you actually have those, or is that put in post-production?
Yeah, so we were wearing like goggles, like kind of like on our. Oh, I was wearing it up on my forehead, so the lights were kind of like above my eyebrow and not in front of my eyes. So, did you put really?
One up here,
You
like,
put-
Susanna, your eyes are up. Could you pull them down? Then I put holes through the damn spandex. So I can
You
try to.
have your eyes on your forehead.
So you guys are just like because the original movie, because of the way
Yeah.
special effects worked, they had to have them practically there. They had to be there. So you're saying that even today they still have them glowing eyes. I just
They
figured
had
it
the
was
glowing
CGI'd.
eyes. Yeah,
Okay.
no, the real glowing eyes. I think.
Oh,
there
so that must
was,
be
like,
cool to walk around and see you all like that. That must be.
Right?
Oh God, can I come? Can you invite me?
We would run into each other. No, it was great.
Knock each other over.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've had a couple
Oops, sorry, who was
incidents,
that?
Yep. Yeah, they called me, and I was one of the stunt Jawas. We were carrying heavy parts up to the ship, and there was one of the stunt Jawas. The other, oh my gosh, why can't I remember his name? Anyway, he
The elder?
the elder.
The one that helped
Didn't
me.
he got thrown over? The
Who, Stephen Powers? He was the elder.
oh no, Stephen Powers was the elder. That's right. Yeah.
He was the elder.
Yeah.
There was,
There was Doug, and then there
there
was
was Doug, there was Pretty Boy.
Pretty Boy.
I called him Pretty Boy because he thought he was Pretty Boy.
Kyle.
Kyle. That's right. Kyle.
And there was, what was his name?
But yeah. Yeah. No, there was a lot of Jawas.
There was
Like
a
I
lot.
remember.
In
Yeah.
that episode 2, there was a lot, and then they cut it down, way down. To
Yeah, so I have to say
quite
the working on The Mandalorian was really exciting for me because I grew up in Ohio in a small town, and I didn't go to like little people conventions, and I didn't grow up with a lot of little people around me. And so when I first worked on The Mandalorian, it was the first time I worked with so many of us. And I just remember like there were smaller people. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the weirdest feeling. I'm taller than someone. Like, and yeah. It was crazy, so surreal to be around people my size and look at like face level with someone. You know.
Excellent.
So that was a lot of fun. But the scenes were fun to shoot. I remember doing that egg scene with you guys when we were all going after the egg, digging our hands in there, eating the. Oh.
And what was that substance? What was it? It was actual eggs. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was.
No, they dyed it to make it. It was like some sort of like gel that they dyed like yellow to make it look like real egg yolk. It wasn't real egg yolk, but
I thought it was really egg yolk.
no.
Because it looked it.
Tamara was saying that the costumes stank after that.
Yeah.
When they're all dried up.
That's because you mofos were probably musty anyway.
That's the fourth time, by the way, Christine. I'm going to keep a tally. Actually. I'm going to write it down. And
Swear jar. Where's the
present
swear
it to
jar?
Mr. and Mrs. Galey when this is all done. So we're at 4
We ain't gonna be like pay up.
for the swear jar. Christine, do you have a similar story about how you got involved in all this Star Wars stuff?
Well, I got started with the agent, and that's when they called me in for a fitting, and the costume was Roy Davidson, and they put me in this little astronaut outfit. I don't know if y'all saw it, but it's a little astronaut outfit in the episode 2 on the Mandalorian season 1. And so I was in that little quick scene, just walking in the village, whatever. And right after that, that's when they called me in to play Jawa. So, and that's how I got started. I didn't work with them in that little scene because I was pregnant with Genevieve. You know, I wish I was, but darn it.
Oh, look, you got R2 now.
Yeah.
R5. So,
Now, all of you have been in multiple series, right? More than just one.
Yes.
I've been
Have
in
any
one,
of you
2, and
been
3.
in all 4?
All 4 seasons?
All four different series. So you've all been in Mandalorian.
Yes.
You've
Mandalorian.
all been in Book of Boba Fett.
No,
Yes.
no, I have not. I was in Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, look at you! Oh, look at you, Obi-Wan. Oh, I was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah.
And then I worked on the upcoming series Skeleton Crew as well.
Oh, so can you give us anything? Can you give us
can't
anything?
say anything about it.
did too.
NDA. NDA.
yeah, we all did too.
You guys are all Skeleton
Yeah.
Crew? Oh, Mandalorian season 2.
I did Obi-Wan, but I did one scene. I think I pissed them off. But I did one.
No, you were able to make somebody unhappy with your behavior and your language.
They kicked her across the other side of the studio.
So they.
Because we're
they
literally
did.
just right here. Obi-Wan was here.
Yeah, I did one scene, but I was like myself. It was the scene with I couldn't stop laughing in the scene because they had me concoctioning. It looked like I was working in a meth lab, and I couldn't stop laughing because I was like, Disney in a meth lab.
This is Obi-Wan. This is Kenobi series.
Yeah, and I know they blew up that scene with the lab. I couldn't tell you what.
Which one was this?
It was in Obi-Wan.
Oh.
So it was in the beginning of the season, but we were in a lab and we were concocting.
That's right.
And they blew. I was in that scene. They had me come with my hair thrown out, and they thought they can like deal with my hair, and then they were.
Do you
like,
see your actual face?
I have goggles on because I'm in the meth lab.
She's making spice.
So
Spice.
I'll have to look this up. Do you have these pictures on your table?
I don't.
I want to see
Because
this.
I never bring up Obi-Wan. I completely forget because I think I pissed them off, so I never worked on Obi-Wan after that. But they called me for other things. It was a different crew on Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't feel as comfortable on Obi-Wan that I felt way comfortable on Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. Those were the same crew, and they, hands down, they're awesome people. From the catering to the staff, just everybody. They make you feel at home.
Okay.
Legacy, the people at Legacy just take care of us, and
Dawn, Tamara,
they're all great.
They're great.
Okay. So just among us, friends here, just secretly. So how long in the series did Pedro go? I know this is probably public knowledge, but
Man, the first episode,
and that was it. And he just that's it. I don't want to do it anymore.
It was. I mean,
Because I'm interviewing the.
Yeah, you could just tell that. I'm really good at reading people's body language because I've done I did costume characters in Disney. I was Donald Duck there, and I got to be my own person and like regulate my crowd because this is before they had 6 hosts around the characters, and I just got accustomed to reading people's body language. And when he would take off his helmet between takes, you could just see the sweatiness and the frustration, and he was like Because he's used to acting with his face, but he's got a helmet over him, and he's, you know,
It's hard being in helmets and costumes.
it's hot. You're out there in that baking sun, and you could just tell he wasn't having a good day.
And
You know,
going
it was
from
like
Game of
something that
Thrones,
he was-
the biggest TV show in the world, where you see his face all the time, and now to be hidden.
Yeah, he's covered up.
I guess it's good for the other Mandalorians that we'll be meeting here tomorrow, because it gives them more of an opportunity to work.
Exactly.
And all-
Oh,
and all-
yeah.
Brendan Wayne,
See?
like,
All the time. Yeah.
And when I tell you the way he's sweet here that's how he is on like he'll come. If one of you fall down one thing, he's taking his helmet. Here, let me help you. Let me do this. You know, you would think he was running the show. Just a sweet man all up in general.
Okay, I'll bring that. I'm interviewing him tomorrow, so I'm going to bring that up. You got any anecdotes for the Mandalorians? Any one of them I can bring up? He's a good guy.
He was always just helpful, even within scenes and stuff. Like, he would take, what do you guys need? I'll help.
You know, there's a microphone there. You can just
Oh,
share that a little bit.
No, because then I'm thinking I'm doing other things.
Stop it. There's a child there. There's a child there.
He
There's
has no clue. Puberty is coming. Dad, you're gonna have to teach the kids some things, all right? If your dad don't teach you, come, I got you.
Susanna does not speak on behalf of Rebel Scum Con or Lucasfilm.
How old are you, young man? 14. Oh, you see, man, don't get me started. Don't let me put.
So,
That's why they don't put me in panels.
so we have one person working for Skeleton Crew. Anybody else?
We all work.
You're all working on Skeleton Crew.
That was
Okay.
supposed to come out.
So
2023 in
so
December.
one of you is going to spill some beans. Molly seems to be pretty good at keeping a secret. I can tell. But the second time she said, no, I can't say anything. I'm like, oh, I can't get anything out of her. I know I can get something out of you.
No.
Give me some.
No,
Give me some.
Look at the one who's drinking, not me. He's drinking Kool-Aid.
Are you
That
drinking?
Kool-Aid is
Are you, do you want some other drinks? Can we?
Oh,
Can you get him some vodka?
no,
Gotta get
thanks. No, thanks.
Can anybody spill anything? Anything.
Nope.
I could tell a story.
It could be behind the scenes. It has nothing to do with the plot. Nothing to do with the plot. I don't care.
I was working on the show, and in a
Look at her face.
scene-
She's worried. He's going to spill something.
I'm not
He's
spilling any
not-
beans. I'm not spilling beans. This is
So
what
you were
happened.
working on the set.
I was hired as a stand-in, and in one of the scenes, it was at like I was sitting basically like a bar stool, so it was pretty high. I couldn't touch the floor. So when I pushed myself off, I was swinging just like this. You know what I'm saying? So I had to. The scene was, you know, I flipped something and then I pushed myself around and come off. So when that happened, the seat it came with me. So I fell. And I fell, broke my fall in my arms. When I got up, it was Jon Favreau and Jude Law saying, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm just more embarrassed than anything." And they were like, "Get the medic over here." Like, "I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine." I had a little road rash right here on the arm from where I fell. And yeah, that was sort of my most embarrassing moment working on that show. To have the boss come right up to you and be like, "Are you all right?" The main
All right,
star
so-
of the show. But yeah, that's all I can share.
So that's the first thing I heard about Skeleton Crew, because they're keeping it under wraps. There's like, it is the most secretive thing I've heard.
It was supposed to come out 2023 in December, but then.
That's what we heard,
you know,
yeah.
it's
The
that-
strike happened.
The strike and everything got pushed back.
Are you guys in a lot of episodes? A couple episodes? One episode? Okay.
I'd be lying to you. I don't know what I'm on, whatever, but I'm in.
Did you piss off that entire crew too, or just the Mandalorian and Boba Fett?
They see me walk in the door, it's like, oh shit. Here
Oh
we go.
no! Here we go. Oh, excuse me while I write this down.
Right
They
now,
said,
Do you guys have any
Susanna's
questions?
here, close catering.
close catering.
Lock. Remove all the children, because there's
I'm telling you,
children.
I walk
Wait a
in
minute,
the
there's
door,
children
right
on that
next to
set
my
of
baby.
of Skeleton Crew. You can't be on that show. There's 4 kids on that show. One of them's like an alien, and then the other 3 are like us. And it must be.
They love the craziness.
So what's the best part about being a Jawa? I just think they're such cool little characters. I mean, from the very beginning of Star Wars up until today, Jawas are very ubiquitous Star Wars.
Giving it right back, you know?
Stealing your stuff and giving it right back. That's interesting.
it was-
They stole R2, sold him right back. They stole the Mandalorian ship, sold it right back. Have they done anything else? Let me think.
We're just mischievous.
I love
I gotta-
that.
I
That's
gotta-
probably my favorite thing about them, that they're mischievous and
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so fun to play. Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool little characters.
It was a fun character to play.
Yeah.
I always liked Jawas. I thought they're just little Grim Reapers. They look like little Grim. That's what I thought when I was a kid. They're like little tiny Grim Reapers. And but do we have any questions from
look
the
like Grim
audience?
Reapers.
Any Jawa questions or we get the
Costume and at the 501st, make sure it's okay, right?
And stand on your knees.
yeah, a little too tall to be a Jawa maybe. But nice German jacket. That's an Abwehr jacket. Yeah. Very cool. Any other questions from the audience? You guys look at your all. Look at an oil painting. All right, way there in the back. Yeah, there's a lot of them left still.
There is, but they're mostly in the UK.
That's true too. Rusty's in the UK.
No, we haven't seen. The ones that we've seen, I mean, there was a convention we went to, and it was Ewok City. And I loved it because all of them came from the UK, and I had a great time with them. Very down-to-earth people.
Rochester, New York. You remember that show?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, that was terrible.
But I didn't get kicked out of my hotel.
No, hey, neither did I. Neither did I.
Airbnb.
The long story short, the convention ran out of money and couldn't pay for the hotel, so all the actors, except for you and a couple people in your Airbnb, everybody else got kicked out.
Yep.
I had my own hotel room, so I was good to go.
It sucked. All the Ewoks literally were outside of the hotel trying to get in their room. And
They were in tears. There were a bunch of Ewoks in tears. Oh, it was terrible.
Some of them are on wheelchairs, and some of them have oxygen, and some of them need their medicine. They were like, nope, until they pay the rooms, you can't go up there.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Okay, but moving right along, I don't want to trash somebody else's show here in Dallas.
Let's move along.
Do you guys, I'm going to ask all of you guys this. Do you have a favorite character, other than a character that you've played, but a favorite character from the Star Wars saga, whether it's the old movies, the new?
I got to say the Ewoks. When I was a child, I've known Kevin Thompson since I was a child. Him and my dad grew up in San Gabriel Valley. My dad's about 10 years older than Kevin, but long story short, Kevin Thompson saw my dad right across the crosswalk in the intersection in San Gabriel Valley and was like, Mom, that was the first ever little person he ever saw. He was like, that's a little guy just like me. And about 5 years later, they met through the LPA and been friends ever since then. So when I was a child, my dad worked for Disney for 35 years as Donald Duck. And when the Ewoks came up, I was like, Dad, that's so awesome. You should go do it. And he's like, you know what, son? He was like, yeah, but I got you guys. I got your sister. And, you know, I leave work to go do that. It's not plentiful for me. You know, it's not. I'm taking a loss because I got health insurance through Disney and all this stuff. He goes, it's neat. And I said, can I go do it? He's like, no, you're underage, and I would have to go with you. Da, 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 da. So seeing when the movie came out and seeing all the guys, I mean, I know Tony Cox. I know all those guys. I grew up with them. My dad played on the Hollywood Shorties in L.A., which was an all-little person baseball team. And I played, when I was about 13, 14, 15, I played with all these older cats, too. Before they stopped playing baseball, they went to basketball. And that's how I ended up meeting all these guys. And then seeing them on the TV and the Ewoks, I was so jealous. I was like, this is so cool. I could have did that. I could have did that.
And here you are.
And then years later, here I am, thanks to my wife, in the Star Wars universe. You know, doing a Jawa, which I think is cooler than an Ewok, to be, honest. Now,
Who would win? I guess who would win in a fight? Because Ewoks don't have blasters. They don't have sand crawlers. They're basically
got redwood
cavemen,
trees.
cave people. Yeah, they live with stone knives and bearskins, basically. Where you guys have blasters and stuff like that. So I never thought of that. You guys would probably win in a fight. They're more militaristic, though. They're more like tribal and spears and fighting and warriors. But you guys have you got your land crawlers. So. What about you? Do you have a favorite character?
Princess Leia.
Princess Leia.
Princess Leia. Yep.
Anything you want to say about Princess Leia?
No, she's just I just always liked Princess Leia.
She
I
was,
watched the original stuff, so.
Yeah, Carrie was great. That knocked it right out of the park.
God rest her soul.
God rest her soul.
Look, you got Sleeping Beauty over here.
Now you can swear. Now you're horrible. I won't count that one though. Molly, do you have a favorite character?
Well, I do. I have a soft spot for Princess Leia as well, and especially young Leia, who I stunt doubled in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Vivian Lyra Blair is just an amazing young lady.
You did stunt work for her?
I did.
Any particular scenes you can remember? Like
So I when she's running across the rooftop and she is running away from Obi-Wan and she jumps and misses and catches herself on the wire and she falls.
So that was you.
I did that.
Not the
initial
4-year-old.
jump.
Okay, great. That's
Yeah, so that was me.
Or the 8-year-old, whatever she was. Oh, that's cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to do that. And when it's not the close up on her falling to the ground, like it's a split second, but you can just see me leap out and catch the wire, and I'm hanging there for like 1 second. That was a super fun stunt, and I also stunt doubled young Luke when he fell down the rocks when the third sister was chasing him. So.
Wow. Okay. So that's pretty heavy. Christine, do you have a favorite character in the Star Wars universe other than your own? You can't choose your own.
My husband.
No. I like.
Thanks, babe.
CP3O and Luke Skywalker.
C-3PO and Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Darth Vader.
That's a juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Darth Vader is my favorite. Always has been. I think we had. That's a question I like to ask. Who's your favorite character? We had a couple Darth Vaders earlier today when I was doing panels. But we have a couple more minutes left. Do you have any other questions from the audience? Any burning Jawa questions?
Did you say any of the lines, or was that audio track?
No, that's all
That's
voiceover.
all. Yeah.
Of course, 'cause that's more money.
Do you mimic when you are playing a Jawa? Do you mimic it, or just you don't even make any?
Direction. I think there was a couple times like there was direction saying that the Jawas are going to be like so
As it kind of helps you if you even if they're
talking.
dubbing it. Like for instance, Brendan Wayne, who plays the Mandalorian. I'm sure he says all the lines, even though he's got the mask on. David Prowse did when he played Darth Vader, and obviously James Earl Jones.
All they hear is my mouth talking shit under that thing, talking about I'm hot.
I
Where's
bet.
the fan? I need a bottle of water. Hurry up.
Where's my agent? Get my agent. Get my car.
My agent on the phone right now.
Telling the main character, hurry up and get your lines straight because we're out here burning and you are not knowing your lines. Go sit down and read them again like something. Like, God rest his soul, Carl Weathers. When we're doing it was on season 3 Mandalorian, we were out in the hot. And I couldn't, for him to be, one of those A-lister people, he was constantly chewing his gum, and it was irking me. I'm there, and he's saying his lines and chewing gum, and I'm like, bro, spit that gum out so we can get this done with. Like, why are you chewing the gum and, like, smacking like a cow? Like, bro, like, spit your gum out. Maybe you'll remember your lines if you spit that gum out. But, God, I'm sorry. I know you're in heaven and you're seeing me.
We love you, Carl.
I love you.
No, he was a good guy. I got to interview him once.
Real nice guy.
He was. I got to interview him once, and it was about 2 weeks after the interview. It was a Rocky interview. It was like him and Drago. I interviewed them at a show, and 2 weeks later it was announced he was in Star Wars. I'm like, it, because I'm a Star Wars guy, and I would have liked to ask him about Star Wars at all, but I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, no, I was looking forward to seeing him. He was going to be at an event I think I was at, but he was a nice man.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, no, he was definitely a very nice guy. And he's a good director. Was he able to direct any of you guys?
Christine and I, our last day for season 3, we went in for some pickup shots, and it was the episode that he was directing, and he was in, and Chris Barlett was in the scene too, because
That was the scene
his
that
bot.
I was in front of him.
Yeah,
That's when I was the Melito, the green.
where you couldn't,
So it was
you couldn't
the
see.
Citizens of Navarro scene.
Yeah.
That was the scene
So
where we were-
Christine and I were Jawas in that, and she was
Melito.
Melito. But yeah, it was after hearing that he passed, and like that was our last day working on the show, him directing and being in the scene with him. It was sort of meaningful because it was like, hey, we got to finish it off with him, and now he's gone. But when I first met him, I was doing Mandalorian, and we were doing a city scene when the lady that was no, the other lady.
Cara Dune?
Yes.
That's
she was
Gina
flirting
Carano.
with me all
Gina
all
Carano.
day.
What?
She was flirting with me all day.
Oh,
kept
was
on
she
looking
now?
over at me, and she's like, "You're so cute." And I'm like, I said, "I know, baby." She started laughing. But yeah, then we would go in between takes inside of the building that was right there, and Carl would sit behind the desk and just talking with him and just saying, "Hey, I appreciate you. I love your work. I grew up, watching Rocky and all this stuff." He was just a kind person. He would talk to anybody. It didn't matter if you were the top guy or the background guy. He was that kind of person that it didn't matter what spot you had. He was kind and courteous to everybody and respectful, and I respected that about that man.
Okay.
Because the biggest star as he is, he didn't have no chip on his shoulder.
You don't have to like
no
someone to
attitude.
respect them. Is that what you just said? That sounds like a totally you line. You should get that tattooed. That says you don't have to like them to respect them. So we know you guys are doing a Skeleton Crew. Is there anything, you don't have to say any names or anything like that, but are you guys working on Star Wars projects that are past Skeleton Crew?
No comprende.
Oh, nothing. You can't say.
I can't say anything.
Which tells me yes, you guys are, because otherwise you'd say no. Like for instance, did you guys anybody here have pizza for breakfast this morning?
Pizza? Where was the pizza? I wish I
No, that sounds like no. That sounds like a no. So I did the same thing with Ahmed Best an hour ago. He says, "Oh, I can't say anything." I'm like, "Well, then the answer's yes." But all right, I want to thank you. Look at her. She's like, she's sitting here dreaming of your. She's sitting here dreaming of Suzanne's potty mouth. Shit. F. I had no idea she was standing there. She was behind his motorcycle.
No.
Like Sons of Anarchy.
She was in the front of me. Say no to drugs.
You're right. She was in front of it. But anyway, I would like to thank all of you, except for Susan, for becoming here today. This is a great panel. And I think it's really cool.
you
And
so much for having
you guys
us.
will be here for the remainder of the weekend in the autograph hall. So
Yes,
you
we
guys
will.
please make sure to come by and see them. And thanks for staying. This is like our last panel of the night.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you guys.
And we will see the rest of you guys tomorrow. This is the last panel of the day. So thanks for sticking it out. The con's about to end in a couple minutes. So I want to thank you all very much. Thank you guys and Susanna.
Thank you.